Welcome back to Season 3 of Comic Book Nation, the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw. With me today, I got my crew, including Janelle Wheeler.
Hello, hello. Happy early holidays. I guess
and Mr. Matthew Aguilar.
What up? How's everybody?
And today we got a lot to do, and we got to be precise because we have a very special guest rolling through. Matt, this was all your get, and we have something great to talk about. Who do we have coming through today?
We got Raquel Gonzalez of NXT War Games, which hits this Sunday. I'm very excited, by the way, if that wasn't apparent.
If you guys are new to this show and are just jumping on now, my co-host Matthew Aguilar has been quietly using our show as a backdoor pilot to his own wrestling podcast for quite some time. And so we are doing another kind of installment of that, but it is NXT War Games this weekend. And so this is a great get because we're going to sit down and talk some wrestling with Raquel Gonzalez. And before we do that, however, we do have to talk about something that's going on the Marvel side this week. I thought we'd just kind of focus in and get a little geeky and dive into Hawkeye. We had a nice impassioned debate about Hawkeye and should this TV show, was this the Marvel hero to get a TV show? We did all that last week. And surprisingly, we all landed on yes. And I think that was a good bet because cut to this week and we got arguably what is like one of the better episodes of Marvel Disney Plus series, at least for me, that we've seen so far.
Absolutely.
I never know with this crew. Can we all agree
on
that?
Oh my God. I'm just so impressed with the show.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're in agreement. What?
Yeah, I know. This podcast is falling apart. We need to cause drama somehow between all of us again.
I hated the dog. That will piss everybody off.
Wow. Do not get us canceled. I didn't say let's go from not having conflict to getting the show canceled altogether. Oh man. All right. So our Phase Zero podcast with Brenda Davis, they did a great reaction to episode 3. You guys can check that out. It's also on this Twitch channel. But Hawkeye episode 3 gave us a lot to talk about. My favorite thing, which are theories. It's time to get our tinfoil hats on. Or is this even considered a tinfoil hat? Let's just get to it. So in episode 3, we met Maya Lopez, a.k.a. Echo. And we got a nice kind of origin, back look story for her to really establish her. Because if you guys don't know, Marvel has already signed off on her getting her own spin-off series as Echo has become a bigger and bigger character in Marvel lore since she was introduced in the late 90s, early 2000s, Daredevil comics. So she's become a much bigger figure. I mean, literally much bigger cosmic figure right now. Yep. And so she's getting her own series. And so we got an introduction to her, but there's a lot that they're playing within them, just like Falcon and Winter Soldier played in kind of these murky references to the Marvel cinematic underworld. Now Hawkeye is doing this, who, the tracksuit mafia is and who Maya's father, Crazy Horse Willie Lopez was, who they're connected to in the criminal underworld and who this mysterious uncle is that she's working for. Mm-hmm. This is Kingpin, right? We could just say that, right?
I mean, when he says that one line, I was like, oh, is that Kingpin? and then all the clues after, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's, if it's not him, it'll be one of those classic MCU things of it wasn't him. It was Phil from
the engineer.
Yeah. Whatever. Oh, that wasn't really him. Wink, wink. But I'll be pissed if that happens. But if it feels like it should be Fisk.
Yeah, it's Kingpin, right, guys? Everybody's Kingpin. What's the funniest is Jamie Cinematics over on Phase Zero said, she's a Law and Order fan, and anybody who's watched enough Law and Order, Criminal Intent, you heard D'Onofrio's kind of chuckle and voice, and you're like, oh yeah, I know who that is. So
yeah, that's him. If they show him and the dude starts leaning his head like this to analyze everything, it's it's done.
I have, this is,
what are you about to set it off?
I don't know if I should say it. I hope it's okay.
Oh, you got to say it now.
Well, Vincent followed me on Twitter, so I followed back. And I think I had just posted about Kingpin or something that he's so nice. He's very generous with the following. But then he DM'd me and he asked me how I was doing during this crazy time that we're in. And anyways, the conversation went pretty cool. And I asked him, I said, well, I didn't say anything crazy, but I was just like, oh, how are you doing? I see that you're in Australia. That's awesome. And I tried to like ask him, like, I'm so curious to hear all that you've been working on. And he goes, some cool stuff is coming. Like, that's all he responded. But I feel like we know what that is.
Look at this. Just an impromptu scoop.
Wait, let's just take a pause right now in this show, because sometimes it's good to pause the show and talk about like little slice of life things. If you guys have never heard, this is like what you gotta. This is why we have Janelle Wheeler like with us on the show, because you never know. It's like a lost episode. You don't know what door is going to open and like what she's going to say. She'll be like, yeah, there was a time I was also Ronin. It was crazy. I was going through a hard time in my life back then. But I was like in Japan cutting up people. And you're like, no, but you're like, oh yeah, American Idol. Yeah. Like there's a lot that you get into.
Well, I messaged him
the story
again
of Janelle
today.
Wheeler, but and this is just another small example.
No, I messaged him again today and I was like, hey, we're all hoping over at Comic Book that it's you. And so if I get a response back, I might try to ask if he'd want to be on the podcast to chat with us. So
yeah,
I'll try. I don't know. He's
question?
A very busy man and he's very important and I am not, but I'll try. I'll try to pull my weight.
That's amazing, man.
There you go. There you go.
The show, it already took a turn. It already took a turn.
Yeah, so
you gotta love it.
Now, because Kevin Feige, man, I don't know. Kevin Feige, if you ever hear this, and I don't expect you will, but like if you ever hear this, I don't know how you get rest at night, because this is such a house of cards that is now stacked. Because if it is D'Onofrio's Kingpin who comes back, if
oh my god.
You know, what this says about the ripples of what this says is immense. And it's obvious why they would save this for maybe a week or two before we get into this, right? Because if that reveal drops, I expect it will drop at a very carefully timed time, right? Like right around before the Wednesday before or the Wednesday after December 17th, let's say. Because if Kingpin's back, Marvel, all of us, I'm sure Adam Barnhart's in like a bunker somewhere already prepping articles, like,
Charlie
just saying
Cox,
like,
Charlie Cox.
it's just like what happens about all those, remember those Daredevil, Spider-Man rumors, So like, there's some big things coming. You're
right though about Feige though. I do actually kind of feel bad, not in a like real like meaningful like feel bad way. Obviously,
I honestly
feel bad for you guys.
But like I feel bad a little bit because like once that happens, we've seen it with No Way Home, and like what this like Pandora's box of the Netflix shows is, right? So like there is going to be such a fervent like, oh my god, does that mean? How many articles are going to get written? Does that mean, what does this mean? Does this person mean this person showing up? It's like, oh my God. So I can't imagine like having to be the person who's got to be asked about it 90,000 times. So like, I kind of, in that respect, I kind of feel a little like bad. I mean, they did it themselves, so whatever. But like, I feel a little bad.
This is kind of, my dream is to really, and if somebody out there in the aether hears this, pass this along, is like, I want to have Kevin Feige like sit down with us for like an hour and not talk anything about spoilers and movies, but just like talk about Kevin Feige. Like, just like inside the mind of Kevin Feige. Like,
I also want to know his backstory.
How are you doing, Kevin?
Yeah, like that's
so great.
I just want to ask him crazy questions like, what do you do? Like, do you ever have a flex moment in the mirror? Because you used to have to sit in those boardrooms at like Sony of all places and listen to all their bad ideas and be like, I swear to God, I can think up something better than this. And
what were you doing in college? I don't know.
That's all kind of out there.
What's
if you
your
read it,
favorite ramen flavor?
Yes,
all of those things.
That is great, Matt. I love that.
But also mine is chicken.
Yeah, watch it. If this doesn't like turn out to be, oh man, if it's not Kingpin, oh man,
right? That's the thing. It's like, oh my God, if it's not that, if it's another, oh God, I don't even remember.
All right,
what's Quicksilver's name from WandaVision? What is his name?
Boner.
Yeah. Like,
What if it's Ralph Boner's dad that he works for?
What if he's actually just Uncle Willie?
What if he's from
What if he's
Shang-Chi? What if he's the 10 Rings?
Oh, what
That's
if
a
he's
theory.
actually
yeah, there's like
Uncle
a whole
Willie,
thing.
Keenan Thompson's Uncle Willie from SNL.
Let's stop.
I mean,
saying
they
Uncle
talk about
Willie.
the dragon a lot. I'm just saying.
This is a G-rated show. Let's stop saying Uncle Willie. Okay, like
Hey, what you got, Willie?
anyway, no, Adam Barnhart said some things. There are a lot of ways that, like I said, they're making things murky in this criminal underworld to show who the chain is. Because, you have Clint Barton already kind of referencing there's like a chain, and who's at the top of it is Kingpin. But how we already know from comics, from the Netflix stuff, even if they jettison that continuity and make it different, like that, basically that Kingpin has ties to both organized crime and the traditional street sense and the Hand and all that ninja stuff. And there's a lot of ways you can string this all together. So, yeah, they're keeping it purposefully murky, but it is going to be something that we're going to see, take shape. Let's just quickly move on because we had some other things. We know, the Kingpin thing is, we know what that was. Matt, this one I had for you. Do you think that so Hawkeye episode 3 ends on this quote unquote cliffhanger, which is just where they cut 2 episodes apart, where Jack Duquesne, anyway, Jack surprises Clint. Jack Duquesne surprises Clint, when they go to the Bishop apartment to kind of do their thing and some more recon or whatever. And in the comics, we know Jack is Swordsman, but in the comics, Swordsman is also Hawkeye's mentor. Now, I've been kind of pondering this based on the ages of the two, of Renner and Tony Dalton, who plays Jack. Do you think, Matt, they're going to jettison that whole comic continuity, or do you think that we'll find out that it'll be a twist that they know each other?
I think it'll be a twist that they know each other. I don't think they jettison all of it, but I do think that like about half of it, if not more, goes. I don't think you're going to get like a lot of that. So, but I do think they will tease it like right after that scene, right when the next episode starts, and like he says like, "Hi, Clint," or something just like some like wink or whatever to their past, and then later on you find out that like they knew each other, they trained together, or whatever. It's kind of, I feel like it's more a Ghostmaker situation.
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that. Like, I think it's better for the MCU continuity and for the franchise possible spin-offs and profits to make it kind of like I forget the team Wolverine's Weapon X team that we saw like in X-Men Origins. I forget what their name is, but like that kind of deal, right? Like this is going to be he was part of some elite squad that Hawkeye was part of, some kind of back in the darker assassin days. And so they will have, like you said, been, buddies or something like that. They work together. And then that sets up the possibility for one day getting like, a whole series of Hawkeye's time, because as Rob Key's point, who was, Screen Rant's Rob Keys was with us last week for the Hawkeye debate. And he said, one thing as a Hawkeye diehard he's still wanting is that the look at what Hawkeye was when he was in that darker time as an assassin, as a, covert assassin and doing all that stuff. And, that brought him to nearly killing Natasha and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think they'll set that kind of past up.
What's funny? Because like because you brought up Rob, and that was like a really good discussion about like why you guys just like love Hawkeye and like why there's like a love for him in the MCU. But it's one of those weird things to me that like this episode is probably my favorite episode of Clint to this point in the MCU. And I feel like in 3 episodes, we've already had 90 times the character development that we've ever had in any of the other movies.
I mean, even the mention of Black Widow is just like, you can feel like
if there's actual like emotion behind it outside of that,
that silly
Endgame scene.
That silly ass scene on Endgame now means something. Yeah.
So but like this show is doing that work. So but it's
Matthew,
surprising to me.
This is one of the benefits of the Disney Plus platform. You can go and expand your knowledge of MCU characters.
Like the devotion came from before this. If this had been out, I would have understood more. I'm still like the biggest Hawkeye guy.
Well, you heard what Rob said. Like I had forgotten this because I have to put up some some doors in my mind and memory. But yeah, we did talk to the Russos back in the day. Like when we were both over at the other site, like we had a chance to get. We were smart about being some of the first to figure out you could get to people on these home video releases. You know what I mean? And so Winter Soldier came out on home video, and we just got like an hour with the Russo brothers. And they were, I don't think they were prepared in some ways for like the level of questioning we just had about everything. And this is before we knew I think that they were going to be taking over the Avengers movies. But they just told us there was a whole backstory about Hawkeye that they did for, the Winter Soldier. And there was a whole thing that they were going to do with him and fleshing out that whole thing about his period in his past. And, that got cut because we ain't got no time for no Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I don't we got time for that.
He's not the focal point. Yeah.
So that's the way it was for Renner, but it's good to see. And now we're kind of seeing, and that's kind of the weird thing we're seeing about this point in Phase 4 is like we're seeing people like Renner and like Scarlett and like Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, who are all pretty good, accomplished character actors, finally getting their payback for having slogged through all these harnesses and green screens and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I sent out a tweet that said this was like the Hurt Locker 2, Hawkeye. It's just all I tweeted because
I didn't see that. That's great.
But, funny enough, ironically, because I was seeing this and I was just like, man, it made me remember that where I really discovered Jeremy Renner personally was at New York Comic Con, the first time Catherine Bigelow debuted the first footage from the Hurt Locker with him. And it was this intense scene of him disarming a bomb and that whole nine. And I was like, man, this guy's going to be a star. And then this was just like the first time, like you said, in all these MCU movies and all these years, this was the first time since the Hurt Locker in the early 2010s that I was just like, Jeremy Renner is like a good actor, man. Like he's,
man, that scene with the phone, powerful as hell. Like, that's an amazing scene. And by the way, and Kate Bishop, like Haley Steinfeld also like plays a huge part in that scene. Their back and forth is really great. But Renner's just like, I actually cared about him. I cared about Clint, not what was going on around him or whatever. It started to kind of chip away at that. And that's what's curious to me is like this show is doing so much work in this area. And that just hasn't been done before. I will say though, that they did the Ronin scene really effectively, but they also did that. Like they also did Maya's. Or I felt for Maya, like I was all in, like right from the beginning, right? Yeah. So when that happens, I have never rooted against the hero so hard than I did when Hawkeye is like when Clint is taking on the people, and I was like, Maya, beat his ass. I just want you to beat him senseless. This dude killed like the person close.
Kill my father, son.
I was like, I've never rooted for someone more, and I was not.
But what if it wasn't him? Like, what if it was somebody else as Ronan?
No, I think it was him. Like, but I
if
think
they did that, that would cheapen it to me.
Yeah, no. Okay. Like, I think, and what I love about what this series is doing with the Ronin stuff is how they in Endgame started this, but like, I love how they always depict Ronin as just like, I mean, straight up shadow, like horror movie shadow ninja killer, like just in the room, everybody's dying, like and it reminds you that this was like this dark, monstrous side of Hawkeye without his family and all this stuff. And and I love how it's kind of, I wish Batman movies take note because that's a great sequence, like you said, of her just like running along the building and seeing this guy just like flip around and take everybody out and just, great
brutal
stuff.
And like brutal within like, like I felt that stuff, but not gory and over the top or whatever. No. Still like in that kind of PG-13 realm. I will say we got a question, a couple mentions of Kate. Look, it's no secret. I love Kate, but again, we got a lot of those two together this episode. Yeah. And I think that was to the benefit of both. I think that just helps, highlight their kind of quirkiness and eccentricities. You get to see Kate's compassion compared to Clint's just kind of hard-nosed, whatever. But Maya like stole the show. Yeah. I was very happy for
her
Echo.
episode.
And she, Alaquia Cox is like, this is her acting debut too, which is
Man.
crazy.
What? Oh
Yeah,
my
they plucked her off the
God.
street. Yeah, this is her debut.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. And already Echo, I was gonna say, you guys already psyched for an Echo series because I am.
Oh,
they
hell
could
yes.
throw so much in there. Like,
oh my gosh,
I would love to see Charlie Cox's Daredevil come back through that series and, you know, get into like all that. Like, there's so much they can do with her. And just like, she's so cool. I mean, even with the prosthetic leg and the, you know, the hearing impairment and like how she's turning that stuff into assets in that MMA scene. Like, it's crazy.
And by the way, even from when she's a child, like that, the child actor,
she was great.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, she was really
like the scene where she's like looking and trying to memorize the sequence of like what he does when they're doing like martial arts. Is she's so intent, and like the little smirk at the end.
Yeah, I was impressed with all the kids, like, because the big kid looking at her like, all right, I'll thrash this little girl. Like, okay.
He was great.
Yeah, they were good. That was a good scene.
The Pim arrow was good too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I lost my thought, but I just want to bring it back to this real quick. Yeah, Steinfeld and Renner are so good together that they can take what should be hokey stuff and a lot of stuff, and they make it really endearing. Like, I got like a dumb smile and even like a little misty, like every time they did the thing where he couldn't hear her, but they were saying they were on the same wavelength, even on the train, like to walk the dog thing, like all that.
That was great.
Yeah,
and we got Pizza Dog.
Like, yeah, and so like, yeah, I mean, those two are so great together, and that dynamic between them is so great together, and it's yeah, man, Hawkeye. I think it's shooting up the top of my Disney Plus series pretty quickly. But I mean, Loki and Sylvie was pretty great too.
Loki, it's right there with Loki now. Like by the end of this,
but it has the family heart. It's getting me in the dad strings. Which is not
there's a lot of that.
There's only like one real path to my feelings, but
and then Hawkeye.
Well, I think it depends. I think it depends who you are. You know, like, I think they all depend. I know why. Like, you know, my wife and stuff and a lot of other women in particular really loved WandaVision and just like a lot of the deeper stuff of that. Yeah, Hawkeye's been surprisingly entertaining, and that car chase sequence was amazing.
Oh, it was great.
And much more extensive than we thought it was going to be.
Sure.
The Pim Arrow, stupid comic book stuff like that.
So
like, come on.
It's so good.
So good.
I was like, this is the most impractical thing ever, but it's so awesome.
It works. That's why
I was like flipping through the comic, trying to
man.
find these moments because there are a lot of comic book moments, and that's just really awesome for fans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody already in the comments says Hawkeye is trash.
Yeah, no. By the way, they should pay the creative team from that Hawkeye series, because there is a lot drawn from that into live action. So you know, give them their dues, both financially and props wise. But I think we gotta bounce.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna bounce. That is our wrap up of Hawkeye. Oh, you're doing your reading. That's great. So we're gonna wrap up Hawkeye talk for right now. Janelle, you better keep us up on who if King.
Yeah,
I will. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Plunger
I'll try,
arrow,
though.
plunger arrow MVP. They actually made the plunger arrow cool and stuff. So we got to take a break, because when we get back, we have WWE's Raquel Gonzalez with us, and we are going to talk about NXT War Games. That is coming up. Be sure to stay tuned. Comic Book Nation, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Comic Book Nation. If you guys follow the show regularly, you know that we are big wrestling fans. Matt Aguilar, my co-host, is one of our Comicbook.com wrestling experts, and today he has a special guest for all you wrestling fans out there. Matt.
Woot woot! Okay, so I am very excited. NXT War Games is this Sunday, so who better to talk about it than one of the people at War Games and NXT's Big Mommy Cool, Raquel Gonzalez. Welcome to the show.
Woo!
Hi, thank you guys for having me.
Of
Dragons.
course. I was gonna say, is that a throne behind you?
Yes.
This is my throne today.
Oh my
I'm
god!
embodying all the power that I have going into War Games right now.
I'm sitting in a stained lounge chair. I am really doing this for really
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's making my my background look a little suspect here.
It's
well,
making
that's
me
awesome.
look like I'm the leader of some gang that's gonna come in and kick some ass in
10
a cage.
rings.
So I feel
You're
like
the leader of the 10 rings. Let's go.
that's right.
I was gonna say it does kind of fit
Shang-Chi.
into our Marvel Hawkeye discussion we just had.
Yes.
Well, okay, so War Games, there's a lot to talk about. War Games is one of, I feel like, just the NXT universes in general, but also one of my favorite events of the NXT calendar. And this year there is a bit of the rivalry kind of played up between the 2.0 stars and the, I guess the best term would be like the black and gold era stars, which you are very much a part of. Do you feel that there's a rivalry between those two in NXT right now?
I do. I feel like the NXT 2.0 stars, as much as I love change and as much as I love fresh blood in the ring, I do feel like the NXT 2.0 superstars are a little overconfident. I don't think that they realize who exactly they're stepping into the ring with. And I just have to say that I'm definitely backing up my boys from the NXT Gold and Black brands, because I feel like they're really going to teach them a lesson that I think needs to be learned.
Yeah, I feel like WWE really went into on those images with the half and half. Those are way to go, PR. They knocked that apart.
Well, that's funny because the next question that I was going to ask is, have you enjoyed being able to work with some of the newer talent in the NXT's women division? And is there someone that sticks out among them to you, like that people are sleeping on, like the audience doesn't know they should really like give props to?
Yeah, I mean, I love working with the new talent. I think it's great to have fresh faces. I think it's great to have new challenges, if you will, because everybody comes in with their own superpower, if you will. They all come in with either they have a jiu-jitsu background or a strength background or a hardcore background. I'm really excited about my teammate, Cora Jade, because I feel like in the past few weeks, she has really stepped up as a newbie and as a newcomer, but she's done it in the right way, in a way that like, she's been seen as this underdog, or, she's been seen as this younger, more shy kind of a girl, but she has a lot of aggression in her. She has a lot of passion in her. And I think she has a lot of fight in her too. And I think everyone's really going to see that this weekend at War Games on the 5th.
Oh my gosh. I love an underdog. Like that's my favorite type of story. So honestly, and with her working with you, like that's such a great team up.
Yeah. And, I feel like last year for War Games, it was my first War Games. Candice LeRae kind of did the same thing with me, where she took me under her wing. Yeah. She was the captain of our team. It was my first one. Dakota Kai had already been in one. So it was exciting, to have Toni Storm there as well with full experience. Right. So I kind of felt like the underdog in a sense. And to come out victorious at the end for my team, I felt like I really stepped it up for them. So I'm really looking forward to see that from Cora. And I feel like she does have that in her. And I'm glad because she has a great team. She has a team of ex-champions, NXT UK longest reigning champion, KLR, NXT champion, Io Shirai, the genius of the sky. And you never know what to expect from her. Is she going to throw herself in a trash can again from the top of the game?
One of my favorite moments ever.
Exactly. So, Cora has a good team around her, a good support system. And I think she really does add to our team as well. So I'm just excited because there's so many possibilities for this weekend.
We spoke about the talent. Is there anything in the larger sense that is your like favorite thing about NXT 2.0 right now?
In the larger sense, like you mean
like of the overall show?
I love the new colors and the new atmosphere that we have going on right now. I feel like it's very bright. It's very welcoming. It's very open. And what we really want right now is to get more interaction from the fans, from our people, especially people who are watching every week. And I think a lot of people as well don't know that they can come to the shows every week if they are in Orlando, if they're vacationing, if they live here, can actually come watch us live every week for free here at the CWC and kind of get a feel for it yourself. Yeah, definitely. You go
I'm coming to Orlando for Christmas. I might see you.
Yeah, you should come. So like all you have to do is go to www.com/NXT live. And it's literally like a short little like name, email, and they just shoot you an email back. And then you can come enjoy 205 live as well as the new NXT 2.0.
As a follow-up to the same question, do you have anything on your wish list, or you or any other talent put your heads together and say there's something we see for like envisioning for the future of the show that you want to kind of put together?
I would love to see, I feel like we haven't had one in a while, but a good battle royal, especially with the females, and especially with the new NXT 2.0 and all the new faces and the new talent and the new blood that's coming in and out every week. I feel like a good battle royal would really just like showcase not just the old school, but the new school, and like a mix of the both, which I actually feel we're going to see this weekend too with the men's War Games matches, because it's NXT 2.0 versus NXT Black and Gold. So it's going to be a good clash of like the old school and the new school. I'm really excited.
I froze, and I froze in the absolute best position that like needs.
You're the happiest little bean.
Someone take a screenshot of this, by the way. This is amazing. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk like this. I feel like I'm a Conan O'Brien. All right, so Dakota cost you your NXT Women's Champion. So kind of two questions on that. One, you were still owed a rematch, correct? So like, might we see that soon?
Oh, I hope so, because I definitely want my title back. I hope Mandy's not too scared after War Games and after I whoop that ass to step back into the ring with me.
Right. So okay. So that's number one. We need to mark that on the calendars. Number two, is it important? This is the best, by the way. I'm asking like legit questions that I have like the most ridiculous expression on my face.
This looks like your response is
it's so good. I feel like I'm in a sketch. Number two, is it important for you to regain that title before you possibly head to one of the other brands, say Raw or SmackDown? You know, you brought up Toni Storm. We've seen Shotzi kind of go as well. So is that something you're thinking about, of maybe a possible departure to one of those?
Honestly, going to Raw and SmackDown is always on my mind, but I also try to focus on what's in front of me right now. And what's in front of me right now is I'm at NXT 2.0, and I'm here to solidify and to remind everyone who Big Mommy Cool is and what I do. And that's kind of where my focus is at the moment. When the opportunities do arise, then yes, I would definitely focus on Raw or SmackDown or what the next step is. But to have a rematch with Mandy is definitely on my list. To get revenge on Dakota, definitely at the top of the list. And you know, there's still a lot of talent that I feel like I want to work with and step into the ring with. So I'm excited for whatever's next for me. And I'm taking it day by day and just making sure that whatever it is, I'm going out there and I'm giving it 120%.
Well, fantastic. And, you know, there are a couple of, you know, enticing things if that were to happen. You know, if you were to go to Raw, we might get an R&R reunion, which would not be bad. That would not be bad. Just throw that out there that it might happen. And Rhea seemed very up for it when we last talked to her. Is that something you'd be down for?
Oh, I would totally be up for it. I love Rhea Ripley. I feel like her and I, what we do since day one when we've met here at the Performance Center is we make each other better. We push each other. And I think that's a relationship that you keep near and dear to you, because they support you no matter what, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. That person is your person in the world that you're in. And it's so hard to find those kinds of people these days that are always positive and always there for you and have your back and can help you take your mind off of things or push you to the next limit. Like when you're trying to be at the gym or go to the gym every day, and sometimes that motivation is just so hard to find. Having someone like her in my life has always been a blessing and a great motivation for me. And we actually got to work a little bit together at the WrestleMania pre-sale party at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas. And just having her and having that moment and being able to celebrate that with her, it took me back to the coconut shows when we first started together. And so it was really nice to celebrate like that together. It was probably one of the best moments I've had this year.
Well, okay, so I know we got to get you out of here soon, but now I want to make sure I say it correctly. Is it Elite Photos? Is it because you have so I had it right. So you have teamed with them before, and you actually did an awesome She-Hulk photo shoot. And so I know this. I have a idea to propose as maybe your next project in that area. So Rich, if we can bring up that image that I have. So I know it's not green skin, but it is blue skin.
Exciting.
It is blue skin. So this is Lori L, who is the like half sister of Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. She is like a cosmic being. She's a badass. She has a freaking hammer. And she has blue skin and cool powers. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out into the universe and like just putting it out there. That's all. I love
that. Yes, I love that. I've been getting tagged in a lot of like different posts on new cosplays and stuff like that. I would definitely love to try this because Thor is one of my favorite superheroes too. So if I get to hold a hammer, let's do it.
Right, you can't go with a hammer.
I want you to do Black Cat.
Oh,
I feel like that would
Black Cat. Yeah, Black Cat. And I've also gotten Red Claw from Batman.
Nice.
Oh man, boy,
wow.
that's a deeper cut there.
Yeah,
yeah, for real.
But props to whoever suggested that. That's a deep cut.
I know. I was like, wow, that could be cool too. I'm all for it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Elite.
Yes. All right. Well, our job is done. I feel like we have so good seed. Our job is done.
Our job plus your usual agenda.
You can see Raquel in action and all of the NXT stars at NXT War Games, which will be streaming live on Peacock this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Raquel, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you, guys.
Raquel.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Kick some ass.
Thanks. I will. Don't worry.
That's awesome. She's amazing.
I mean,
tells it like it is.
She just casually said all that in a boss throne. Like who? I mean, yeah. Like
I saw the comment in the. I meant to shout it out.
Lounge chair. I
meant to shout it out when I went in through my whole camera fiasco. I meant to shout out, but there was a great comment where it was like, here it is. If there was a throne, there has to be a queen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Somebody needs to put that as their log line. I mean, I'd say since it was for Raquel, we should just like push that her way because that is a great tagline. If there's a throne, there has to be a queen. And was that on Game of Thrones? I have to dip back and see, but they didn't say the Game of Thrones. And even if they did, there needs to be a wrestler who adopts that ASAP. So
Kofi, I just noticed that poster behind you.
Oh, the Joker?
That's amazing.
Oh yeah. My son doesn't let me put it up anymore. He says it frightens him, so I have to put it
kudos
if you need someone to hang it on their wall, I got you.
That creeps me out just by looking at it in the corner because every so
I
often,
love it.
My eye drifts and I catch his face staring at me.
And that's what happened to me. I was walking the last time we were at NYC at New York Comic Con. I was just walking and it seemed to be talking to me, and I was like, "Ooh, box that up, send it home."
Love it.
Yeah, so that's my Alex Ross Joker origin.
It is gorgeous.
That is awesome.
Alex Ross, man, gotta love it. But I'm trying to put some more comic booky stuff here. See, this is why I don't do this. Because as soon as I do, Matt's like, "You're a creep."
When did I say you were a creep? I said he.
I heard you backhanded.
Okay, so back when we were actually in the office, and back when Kofi used to sit next to me, I'm pretty sure he moved away from me because he got tired of me like singing all the time. But when he used to sit behind me, he used to, when Joker came out, he replayed the trailer numerous times throughout he remembers this because he's laughing. He replayed the Joker trailer because it creeped me out numerous times all throughout the day, and he would turn around and he'd sit and he'd like wait for me to like turn, and then he'd smile when like I would turn around and go, "Yeah,
this is amazing."
This is what he did to me. So it has been established. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
did I freeze again?
Yeah, it's fine.
Son of a gun. What is
Brandon used to do the same thing to me with Walking Dead stuff because he knew I was super squeamish, and he'd just like freeze it on me like blood and guts. Freaked me out.
You guys are hilarious, man. All right. So before we move on, we're gonna do comics, but this is not good. I forgot this last week. I almost forgot it this week. I did go see Resident Evil. Welcome to
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. I'm so curious about this.
Okay, so I think the first thing I got to say is I don't think it's a good endorsement to say that I literally forgot. I went out last Thursday night and forgot to tell any of you last Friday morning that I had seen this movie. So that's not a glowing endorsement, okay? the fact that I just like completely forgot to talk about it on the podcast. But to be honest, I forgot I saw it, and that's not a glowing endorsement. Now, I will say, I have to do the lookup to see exactly what the production timeline on this, but a lot of it felt very COVID-y timeline.
Oh.
And just the way it was made.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like people standing apart and like.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, there's a lot of the movie that is very much kind of just it's in the town. I'm trying to. No, it was done in. I'm just trying to see when it started production. It started early 2020. Yeah, so it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So that this was made. Yeah, so it was filmed in October. Yeah, so you could tell that they had to make this during COVID, and it is going to be one of those. And it is becoming a thing that there's going to be this whole block of entertainment if we really want to get deep with both TV and movies. Because my wife said something about a TV show we were watching that you can just tell during the COVID era how weird it is because of the blocking, where everybody has to be like across rooms from each other, and you can only have like split segments.
Was that Why the Last Man? Because that
Why the Last Man, Walking Dead,
Walking Dead for sure.
Yeah, Fear the Walking. I mean, there's a lot. You can tell every production right now is just like this, and Welcome to Raccoon City is like the height of that. You know what I mean? Like it started in October 2020 when we're getting those new waves, and so. It's them going in the town and then having to be like separated by a gate, and then they're in the police station. They go into the mansion, but only two of them are together while two of them are over here. And like, it's a very much split up like that, which can work in a horror movie. And this is very much, we had the director, Johannes on, and it is very much a horror movie. It is. This is not an action horror movie so much as it is a horror movie about how the plague first breaks out of Umbrella, and instead of like the old film series taking us into the facility and that whole thing, like this is just out in the town where people slowly don't realize a zombie apocalypse is unfolding around them.
How is my girl Jill?
Okay, so let's get to that. The cast, I can say. The cast of this is pretty good. I don't think they know who Claire Redfield is in this movie so much. Pacaya Scodelario is always pretty good. Robbie Amell's greatest. Chris
good.
Redfield.
Okay.
Tom Hooper from Umbrella Academy is great as this early version of Wesker. But really, Hannah John Common is the scene stealer as Jill Valentine.
Oh, thank the Lord!
And she's very much her own version of Jill Valentine, but she gets the badass, crazy Jill Valentine thing down. And she was Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp. If you don't know who I'm talking about,
I loved her by the way in that role.
And so she's Jill Valentine, and she is like a scene stealer in this. But there's not a lot of scene to steal because, again, it's just like her and one other person usually like running around the screen.
Which is like pretty true, right? To the original games.
It is.
Because there was always like one
split
person
up,
and a side character typically or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of it is just, I think, if anything, Welcome to Raccoon City just commits the sin of being forgettable. Like, you're going to catch it on cable one late night and just be like, oh, that was a movie. I saw that. Like I said, I saw it and it wasn't so bad that I was like, it was incoherent and it wasn't good enough for me to be like, oh man, that was an experience. It just happened and it was over. And I literally forgot to tell you guys the next day that I'd seen it. So
I'm trying to make a decision whether to see that because I haven't had a chance to actually see the movie.
Go matinee. I can tell you.
Or see Afterlife because I'm more.
You're going to be more pleased with Afterlife. I know you.
And the 29% hurts my soul. It has on Rotten right now, the critic score.
No, it's very forgettable. It's just very forgettable and very kind of the action, quote unquote, is very murky. Because again, like you can tell, like it's just they had to do what they could do with like a lot and as few people as they needed to work with as possible.
But liquors.
And so like and there's like a whole that is the worst. Part of the movie.
No,
if you thought it was somehow this gets the liquors worse than the original does.
No.
Your boy Donald Logue shows up for like a weird role in this too, so that's also really.
Oh wait, is he Barry?
No, he's Brian Irons, the chief of police. No, he's a very much a nobody's gonna care character. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
But this does set up the actual lore of the games that that you want to see. Also, this version of Leon is really weird. Yeah, so that's that. And I don't know if the guy they cast as Leon is somebody I would ever buy as Leon. So, but anyway, I'm beginning to mumble. That's it. It's a very forgettable take. I think they set it up for to be, because this is just the beginnings, right? So like they set it up to be real Resident Evil after this, and there's a franchise to be had there, and some of these actors could come back because Hannah John Kamen is cool as Jill Valentine. So
that means I need Revelations. Oh. Yeah,
please look. But sorry for that detour. We were not supposed to stop here. Let's keep it moving.
That's good
because we gotta get time. Let's go to comics, Matt.
Yeah, just a couple of news things to tackle here. We've been talking a lot about Dark Horse lately. We talked about them getting some very valuable IP back when they got to dip into the Star Wars universe, and that's why it's kind of surprising. But maybe not if you kind of look at it overall, that there is a report that they are looking to weigh options that include a sale. So it's kind of like people got like really excited because like, hey, they're getting Star Wars and they're going to get into some stuff. And now it looks like, well, maybe there's two kind of trains of thought on that. Either something happened, kind of as that deal was being finalized and stuff, or that they were looking to up their stock a bit for a potential buyer by getting something like that, because having that kind of IP licensing agreement in the books would be very lucrative to a potential buyer. And they do have other ones too.
I saw this in the notes and I had to put in a call to Jim Viscardi this morning. I do know some things about this. I can't say them all.
That's right.
Information falls my way sometimes. I do have some connections in this industry, and I know some things. Dark Horse is making moves, and they've been doing so for a bit of time.
Money moves.
And they're trying to find ways, because they have become the middle child of the 90s, 2000s transition. They were smart in the 90s when they bought all these licensing agreements that let them take movie franchises that were stalled, like Terminator, RoboCop, Aliens, Predator, all that stuff, Star Wars, and make their own comic series and stuff that really became the fan focus, right? But then when those properties, you got into the later 2000s, and then, franchise properties became the thing, everybody started snatching their stuff back. And now, like, who is Dark Horse and what are they is a big question. So how they sell this and what they do is a complicated puzzle game. And potential buyers are, I can say for a fact, and I won't mention any names, but potential buyers are having troubles figuring out what to do with this, So that's what's happening. But let's talk about some other comic stuff. I want to talk about this Avengers 50 thing because I promised people on a tweet that we would.
You did. Okay, so here's the thing. Ironically, Janelle came in for the win and got like the Venom 2 over the hump.
I'm so glad I did. I loved this book.
And then so many things happened in Avengers 50 that we ended up having to talk about it anyway, but we're not going to go into like a deep discussion on it. This is just very brief.
No, content dictated.
Shout out to the Wheelerverse. Thanks for repping.
First of all, Avengers 50 ain't a comic book. It's a small novella. It's 84 pages. That is a novella.
I wasn't kidding. I even put it in the chat. I was like, guys, if this wins, it's very long.
Yes.
I was on a mission.
It is so crazy long, and towards the end, it fades in some parts. But there are a lot of big things that happen. They basically take all the strings they've been pulling for this Jason Aaron run here, with the Mephisto war coming, and they just throw so much at you that is so crazy, but very exciting in a lot of ways, right? Like,
there's a lot, man. The format gets in its way.
Yeah,
and I don't know how. I mean, honestly.
They just didn't even try to hide it. It's like, here's everything. Here's the wall. Ugh.
And it's like split into like epilogues, prologues, and then there's stuff that's going on kind of concurrently with and it bounces all around. The thing is, like Kofi said, there's really interesting stuff. Like, and we'll get into spoilers because it's been a couple days, right? So like the new Herald, how we get there, long as hell, and probably didn't need to be that long. The result, I don't know. It's kind of interesting having Kazar be the new
Galactus'
herald
Yeah,
of
and going-
Galactus. That's and how he gets to that position is also kind of interesting as well. The Howard Stark reveal, right? People have been seeing those seeds planted for a long time, but we finally get like the origin story of why this Howard and how
Iron
he
Man.
made the deal.
If you don't know, Iron Man's daddy is back from the dead. He made a deal with the devil, and he's got a crazy suit of both technological and cosmic powered armor as the Iron Inquisitor. But they did side some stuff because people were rioting about this, and then they sidestepped themselves out of the hot seat in this issue because it's Howard Stark asterisk, right?
Yeah, right. But still, he just screwed up.
Yeah, that scene with Tony is dark.
Yeah, and when you're talking about the parent energy, right?
Yeah.
From boy, that hit me like a ton of.
Oh yeah, me too. I have like a young son who's like my son's becoming he's beginning to show signs of being high intellect. He's really speaking and understanding things. I was like, this was not good for me. I was like, man.
That was rough.
Yeah. So if you don't know, we're saying spoilers. That version, that universe is Howard Stark. The deal. Every time you make a deal with Mephisto, you got to kill your family, basically.
Yeah.
That's the price. And so when Tony Stark discovers repulsor boot jets, Howard Stark's like, yeah, that's nice, and blows him away. So he kills his son.
You either have to lose your family or you have to lose your marriage. It's one of the two deals with Mephisto. And then we get the bringing together the Masters of Evil. And
the best Masters of Evil.
It is cool. This weird multiverse kind of hodgepodge of people. And that's really cool. And also it ends in a really interesting place with them being at Avengers HQ and being right outside. My favorite moment though of the whole book is a Robbie Reyes moment. It's a Ghost Rider moment. It's the one scene where it's the last will and testament, I think, of Robbie Reyes is what that part is called. But it's him literally just having a 2-page conversation with the Avengers about his brother. And for people who follow that character, know how important his brother is, and that is his family. And so it's been this kind of long running thing in the book, how he's kind of balancing essentially parenthood with his brother and being this supernatural force and an Avenger and things like that. So this was a really heartfelt scene. Again, I just love that. But there was a lot in here, and there was a lot good. This was also the end of World War She-Hulk, by the way. Randomly, they just
so randomly. So randomly
threw it in there, and I'm like, you've had 4 issues, I think, of that storyline, and it seems odd to throw the big finale just in the middle here between.
This is what we're doing. We got 84 pages. We doing it all, baby.
It's very odd.
But so
this is a comic though, by the way, Bun 2020. This is a comic. It's just a supersized one, and it's the 50th.
It's legacy number 750, so it is a big one. 750 issues of Avengers is a lot. Yeah.
So and also yes, as someone mentioned, we are getting new Avengers, right? Because they're going to recruit Echo, who's been in the book as kind of this. Big, powerful force because she has the Phoenix Force. And if you're reading her book, which is actually also very interesting, her solo series is kind of explaining a bunch of her history and her lineage. So you can see that over there. But it looks like they're going to bring her in more full time here. And then Starbrand. And for those reading who have been with the book for a long time, the Starbrand baby is a little more grown up now. He's essentially a superpowered toddler. Look, whatever you think, it does make for some very funny moments. And so there's a whole scene a couple of issues back where Tony Stark doesn't want to hold him, but he has to. And so there's a lot of that kind of humor when he's around. So we'll see if that goes around. So that's Avengers. There was a lot to process, but we don't have to go.
All right, let's go to Venom because that's the only other one on this list I got to reading because
I have to go with order because I can't throw Rich.
Okay.
I promised him I would go in order.
Okay. I'll jump back in for Venom. You guys talk about the next two.
Oh, wait. I don't actually think I got him images this week. So never mind. We can't go to Venom. So there you go.
Your lack of preparedness amuses.
That was my fault. I didn't get him images.
All right. Let's take Venom 2 then.
Yeah, Venom 2. So the poll winner, thank you, everybody. Venom 2 picks up where the last one left off, which, if you don't remember, Eddie supposedly, kind of to
died
Dylan,
again.
He died, right? He exploded. But of course, we know there's more to that and stuff from Eddie's side. But Dylan doesn't know that. So Dylan feels like he's already dead, and we kind of see him bond with the symbiote and the carnage there. This, though, is kind of, Eddie left him some instructions. And so we kind of see just Dylan going through kind of Eddie's past contacts and like some of that. So there's a lot of like subterfuge here, a lot of kind of almost an espionage feel. And then you get a little action. And I just love the little family that has developed here of Dylan, his symbiote, and I'm blanking on his name right now.
I
But
keep
the
wanting to
dog.
say toxin, but it's not toxin.
Yeah, but like so his symbiote that also kind of typically takes the form of a pet. So we get to see that here, but we see all three of them kind of working their way through this world and kind of helping each other and back and forth talking about that stuff is just so interesting. And there was a lot of that here. So, you know, I was all for it. What'd you guys think?
It's been a long time since, you know, I've been as interested in like the actual Venom symbiote in its relationship with its host.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing a good job with that. Like Dylan, because it is now Dylan, and like seeing Dylan trying to bond not only with just a symbiote, but like his father's symbiote is really kind of an interesting thing. And their interactions, they're nailing the interactions. And in a weird way, I think that Venom movie helped them, but they're doing a good job with it.
I do agree. Granted, you could say, I mean, you know, Donny Cates' run kind of leaned into that some.
Cates never gonna ever take away anything from Donny Cates.
Like, but I think it was also too very like, as opposed to like Hawkeye, where like you can see that it's like getting a lot of its base from that series. I think in that case, it was probably simultaneous. Like it was probably just both benefiting each other because they were kind of in the same vein. So I think you're right. I don't think one kind of gets full credit for that. I think they actually both help each other because they're kind of leaning into that. Janelle, what do you think?
Oh gosh, I'm all about this. I've really enjoyed. I mean, King in Black was was like my first introduction to this Venom stuff in comic books. It's really weird because I played with the toys as a kid.
1 second to pause. His name is Sleeper. Dylan's
Thank
pet
you.
cat symbiote. His name's Sleeper.
I love Sleeper. I love the cat. I just think it's really interesting. I don't feel lost. I feel like I know what's going on. I understand the concepts. And yeah, it's just obviously like it's not the first book, so it's not going to be the like best, but it is a really solid next phase. Like I'm okay with it. Like it wasn't boring. Like a lot of the middle issues like going for they kind of suck, and this one really engaged me. Like I was very into it. Actually, I was into every single comic this week.
It was okay. To be fair, that was a heavy week.
Yeah. No, there's a lot. I'm going to be scrolling through it for a while. But
there's a lot to get here.
Just to pick up a thought, I want to say about Venom, because when we talked about issue 1, I said I wasn't sold on the Eddie kind of cosmic stuff. That I'm never sold when symbiotes go to space. I just want to say and follow that up with, I like how King in Black reset the status quo on Earth. I hope they lean more into this story about, because the most interesting parts to me are like the senator and like all that stuff happening.
Oh yeah, that's right. Life Foundation's back.
Foundation's back, and Carlton Drake. And what I like about that is how the world now knows that symbiotes are like this invading threat, and that there are like sleeper agents all across, you know, possible world, or people bonded with symbiotes and all this stuff. I hope they lean into that idea that there are symbiotes outside of Eddie's hive that our people are now using or making, or now have, you know, we don't know who's a symbiote and who's not, and like all this kind of stuff they can play with, because that kind of stuff seems a lot more fun and interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a very good point. So let's move to another Marvel then. The Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man #1. This is very much a tie-in issue. So this is not required reading if you are keeping up with Death of Doctor Strange. If you are we've talked about Amazing Spider-Man. I've kept up with it some just on my own, because like I've been enjoying that run since it kind of restarted. So this is a Ben Reilly Black Cat issue. You can also tell this is Jed MacKay, because Jed MacKay worked in Black Cat. He worked in Moon Knight. Moon Knight makes an appearance.
Oh, I loved that. That was like my favorite part of the whole thing. I loved seeing Moon Knight.
It's so good. And that sequence is great. I took care of him.
That's awesome. No, I'm not playing that. I don't wait for you to do this. Like, this is my turf.
Yeah, and he's all bloody and everything. Also, Jed MacKay writes Black Cat so well. I just love his Black Cat. So this is essentially like Peter Still in the hospital. Like that stuff's still going on. And then when Doctor Strange dies, Peter gets a message that like Doctor Strange had set up in case he died and stuff. But like he's obviously out of commission, so like Black Cat and Ben Reilly are around and they hear the message. So what follows is like this just again another. I think what this issue does do is it's a great example of like all the things that we have seen that Doctor Strange just did. He just took control of, and no one ever appreciated it or knew about it. And he saved the world like 90 times a day, and no one like he just kept all these things at bay, like albino gators from the underworld and like people doing crazy things in the park, like all this stuff. And even like to the little things of like giving someone a pretzel when like she had a bad day and all that. Like there's so many great things. I think this is actually a great perspective on Doctor Strange. And also I am all for Ben Reilly getting checked, and Felicia does such a great job of checking him throughout this whole thing. And like I cannot take him like Riley's current stance, even though I understand where it comes from. I still can't take it. So it's nice to have that juxtaposition for me. So I enjoyed this issue, but what'd you guys think?
Oh my gosh, the Doctor Strange, you nailed it. Like it just made me love Strange even more and have so much respect for him. And my heart kind of broke like when they described that he's the village doctor and he never ever got the credit. And I love Strange, so I'm a sucker for it. And I hope that it helps other people really appreciate Strange in a new way that kind of maybe overlook him in general, just like in the comics or in the MCU. I do get a lot of pushback on me saying that Strange like should be the new leader of the Avengers and he should be the new Tony Stark and he should have this huge role and he's amazing and he's so powerful. Like people sometimes kind of, I would say not comic book readers, but I do sometimes get people going like, why do you like Strange so much? And so it's just really cool to see it from a different perspective. And that alone made me love the book. Oh, Kofi's got a question. Kofi, please.
Same question, Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah, I mean, I love them both. I love them both, except I like Strange better than Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh, yes. I do. The truth finally comes out.
I mean, Jared Leto's Joker I didn't get enough content to be able to like really say he's the best. I never say he's the best. I say he's my favorite, which is different than the best.
Oh, absolutely. That is.
Yeah.
No,
but anyways, I super loved the book. I love all of this Strange death stuff. I'm really curious to see where it's going to go. I love Black Cat. Like she's becoming one of my favorites. I never saw that coming, but I love Black Cat. And and I'm just getting to know this dynamic between this new Spider-Man and kind of his role without having a lot of context myself personally. I feel like it defines it a lot. It makes his role clear in this book. I'm starting to understand where he's coming from and why he is who he is, what he is, where he came from. And that's good because I was kind of clueless at first.
No, for sure. So let's move to Wonder Girl. Get some DC in here. Wonder Girl number 5. A lot of Wonder Woman stuff going on this week. And this issue kind of, one of the things we talked about in previous issues, or at least I have harped on a little bit, is like Wonder Girl is one of my favorite books every month when Yara is like the star. So like when it has a lot of Yara in it and not like split up into like a bunch of other people and then like a little of Yara, I'm very happy. And it's one of my favorite books. Thankfully, this issue is like kind of brings that into focus of like, there's a lot of Yara in this book. It's just her being her like being sarcastic and battling some stuff. And oh my God, don't ever punch Jerry. Jerry rules. So like, there's just a lot of fun here. And you still get like the storyline stuff with like her and the gods and like her spurning them and like some of the other tribes, the tribe stuff like Nubia. The stuff that's going on in the background here is actually really interesting. Like there's actually a lot of additions to the Amazon lore here. And like we're discovering that there's a whole other tribe and there's a whole other society kind of here and how they interact with the other islands, right? So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. So when they do go away from Yara, it works. And then when she's in the forefront, it works. So like I like those books. This was kind of that for me. I wouldn't say it's my favorite issue of the series, but I really dug it. What do you guys think?
I think I read 84 pages of Avengers this week.
I didn't even do it, Kofi. I didn't even do it. Ooh, do you want me to? I feel like I'm missing something. I think I might have missed the previous book or issue because I felt a little lost. I just the last time I saw her, she was going into the water pool, I guess, and then I don't know. I just kind of picked. I got it. I understood what was happening, but it just felt like we're smack dab in the middle of this like moment with the gods and the drinking of the goblet and all of this, and I didn't really know where it came from. So that might be on me. I think I might have missed it.
No, I think we skipped it. I think I'm remembering right. I think we did.
I mean, it's also up to me to like find these books.
Yeah, we skipped it.
Yeah, but it's not. But regardless, even missing that, I still was just so impressed with the beautiful art. I love the concept. I think it's pretty cool. And even if you did miss that book or that issue, like you can still read this and kind of get the idea of what's going on. Something really tragic happens that is extremely upsetting. And I am still reeling from that. So that's kind of like the biggest thing I can think of. I don't want to spoil it because this is a big moment. That is kind of messing with me because it just felt very unnecessary to do that because like I need more of that.
Yeah, I know what you're referring. Yes, I understand completely. All right, so I know we gotta move pretty quickly through these.
Sorry.
But no, you're fine. So Kobe read Avengers, and I apologize. So Captain Marvel number 34, real quick, is the last of the Marvels. Next chapter. We talked about moments. Holy cow, there's like 2 moments in here where we get to see like a new ability that kind of comes about where that cliffhanger left off. Those are gorgeous moments. Those look so good. So we get this whole expansion of what Carol's powers can do, and it actually makes a lot of sense. We also get another like group of Marvels and more of that storyline. This is a lot of action in this one. But you know, Phyla-Vell gets like a redemption mode. So there's a lot of stuff in here I really dug. But like those new power scenes, holy cow, they just like blew me away. Janelle, what'd you think?
I'm gonna let Kofi take this one to start because I've been talking too much.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I literally read Avengers.
He read Avengers
and Venom and a bunch of other. Don't get me wrong, but full disclosure, there's some changes happening behind the scenes. I have to like read a lot of comics these days, so like I have to read more and more comics. So yeah, it's been a lot. I have to slog through the rest of these.
Well, you missed out. This was spectacular, right?
I'm just gonna mute now. I'm gonna mute now. You guys discuss. Okay. Because this is the last bit. Then we got to wrap. So you guys finish up.
Matt.
Then I'll go. Yes.
I mean, am I wrong here? Please tell me if I'm wrong.
No. You're not going to get any argument from me. Nope. You can't do it because you didn't read it.
It was so pretty. Listen, action-packed, like leaves me wanting more. Really cool story. Exciting. I don't know. It was thrilling. The art is beautiful. Like I definitely don't see any problem with this. This is, to me, every comic I read was worth my time and energy this week.
Yeah. Real quick, because this deserves a bigger spotlight. So I'm actually going to probably save this for next week. Wonder Woman Historia came out. It is another big book. It's like 54 pages, I believe, or something like that. But it is gorgeous. It is stunning. I feel like Jim will hurt me if I don't talk about this book for a little bit, but we will talk about it in depth because this actually was one of those that kind of demands more spotlight. There's a lot going on here. Some of the Hippolyta scenes were just incredible. And look, Kelly Sue DeConnick did a great job. Phil Jimenez, I mean, this is a book that like, look, I typically, when I'm reading stuff digitally, read Comics View or like Gallery View, whatever the view is called, where it's like, it breaks it up. This is one where having the physical issue, if you can get it, makes a difference. It's stunning. Like looking at some of these pages is stunning. So definitely worthwhile, but we will get into that some other point. So that is comics.
No, I want to break that down. So we will do that next week. Let's make a point to talk about that because I do want to talk about it. I'm enjoying Wonder Woman and I want to keep highlighting it. So yes, this will also be my agenda. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Comic Book Nation. First and foremost, we want to thank WWE's Raquel Gonzalez for dropping by on that just crazy badass throne of hers and talking with us about NXT War Games, which will be happening this weekend. Matt and the rest of the Comicbook.com wrestling team will be covering that and keeping you guys up to date on everything. So be sure to check that out if you're a wrestling fan. If you are just getting into the show, we, Comic Book Nation, air every Friday at noon live on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. You can watch any of those platforms. And if you missed the beginning, you can watch afterwards as soon as we're done recording. If you missed our Hawkeye talk today, that was the beginning of the show. Just go right back to the beginning and check out everything we had to say about Hawkeye and the theories and the MCU, because that was a good discussion. If you want to just download the audio, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio, or tell any smart home device to play Comic Book Nation podcast, and it'll just do it for you. If you like the show, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you in advance. If you want to find me, I'm at Kofi Outlaw.
I'm at Aguilar CB.
I'm at Janelle Wheeler on Twitch and everything else. No E on the end of Janelle, though.
Oof, get it right.
Everybody spells it wrong. It's okay.
Get it right. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this has been Comic Book Nation, where we break down all of the geek world for you guys and discuss with you. Hope to see you guys again. Peace.
Bye, guys.